Hello creatives. So today we are looking at Adobe Illustrator tools. So we know that Adobe Illustrator is a design and an illustration software. So what does most of the work is the tools. And when you master the tools panel, you've mastered almost 50% of the software, because that is where most work is. So Adobe Illustrator offers a wide range of tools to help users create and edit vector graphics. These tools are grouped into categories based on their functions. We have selection tools, we have drawing tools, we have shape tools, we have type tools, we have painting tools, we have modification tools, transformation tools, navigation tools, quite a number of tools. So here is an overview of the tools panel. So right here is our tools panel in Adobe Illustrator. It contains quite a number of tools. So the very first tool is the selection tool. This is one of the commonly used tools. So the selection tool selects objects, moves objects, and does most of the work. So take an example. If I have a shape like this, let me give it some color. So if I want to make a change on this shape, I'm going to select it. So the selection tool, one of its roles is to select. The other role is to move objects from one point to another. The third role is to scale. So if I have my cursor inside here, I'll be able to move this object. If I put it on the line or on one of the anchor points, these are called anchor points. These small boxes that you see here, they are called anchor points. So if I put it on one of the anchor points, it will show me a straight line with two arrows opposite each other. So meaning you can either pull this aside or pull this inwards. So in other words, you're scaling. So we are using the selection tool to scale as well. That is the third role. Then if you slightly move your cursor outside the shape, cursor will change to a curved line with two arrows. Then if you click and move, it will be able to rotate. Yeah, so that is the fourth role. Then the last role is to curve edges. So in Illustrator we have shapes that have straight angles, and one of the ways to curve these edges is by clicking on these inner small circles in the corners of every shape. So these small circles is where we click and move inwards to create rounded corners. So I could either have a rectangle with straight lines or a rectangle with rounded corners. So this, the more you pull it in, the more curved edges you get. Then next to it is the direct selection tool. So what the direct selection tool does, it goes directly to an anchor point. Then you can make a change on that point alone. You could even curve only that point. With the direct selection tool, you can still move the object. You can't scale it, but rather you can select a point and either delete it, or select a point and curve it, or select a point and move it to any direction that you want. Then next in line we have the shape tools. So the shape tools consists of quite a number of shapes. Starting with the rectangle tool, this helps us to draw all rectangular shapes. You only have to select this, then click and drag. So if you notice, we don't have a square tool here. So how we draw the square, we get it from the rectangle tool. In this case, we shall have to press shift, then draw. So when you press shift and draw, you'll have a shape with equal sides known as a square. So next in line is the ellipse tool. Ellipse tool helps us to draw circular shapes. So if you want a perfect circle, you press shift, then click and drag. Then we have the polygon tool, and with this I'll click and drag to have six-sided polygon known as a hexagon. So if you want something less or more than that, you're going to click once. Then you can be able to select how many sides you want. So if you select 3, it will give you a triangle. So the triangle comes from polygon tool. If you want more than that, just click once and select maybe 8 sides to create an octagon. Then we have the star tool. So star tool, by default it will create 5-point star. If you want anything more or less than that, just click once and reduce or increase, then say OK. So it will give you a star with many points. Then the other tool is the line segment tool. So this basically creates lines in our illustrations. So this helps us to create lines. Then we have a tool called the pen tool that helps us to create irregular shapes or any other kind of shapes, those complex shapes that you see in designs. So the pen tool, how it works, you click to create a first point, then move. You don't drag, you just move. When you move, click to create a second point, move your mouse, click to create a third point, fourth, like that, until when you join back to create a shape that you want. Then you can give it color. So with the pen tool, you can create any kind of irregular shape. You can also create shapes with curves. So in this case, you're going to click to create a first point. When you click on the second point, hold the mouse and drag to create a curve. Come back and click on the anchor to break that. Click again, hold the mouse and drag. Come back, click in the center. Click again, hold mouse and drag. Come back in the center. What happens if you don't come back here to break this outer line? If you don't come back here, you're going to create a curve, but this will be controlling you. It will be moving only in the direction which is possible for it. So I have to come back and break that point. Then when I'm done, I can join to my first point to have that kind of shape. So we create all these kind of complex shapes using the pen tool. It's kind of a tricky tool, but it's very useful. So after you're done using any tool, you go back to the selection tool, because what happens if you remain in the same tool, anytime you click somewhere, the software is going to think you're trying to reconstruct that object. So you basically have to go back to the selection tool. Okay, so then the other tool is the curvature tool. The curvature tool creates curves from straight lines. So let's say I have this straight line already and I want to turn it into a curve. So I'll go into my curvature tool, come and click anywhere inside the line and drag. So in this case, I'm creating a curve out of my straight line. Same applies. Go back to the selection tool, come back here, selection tool, select that, then curvature tool. So I'll click here and create a curve. So this makes work easy, especially if you're not good with the pen tool to create these curves. So you can literally just first create straight lines, then come back and correct them with the curvature tool. So in this case, we have this shape, and let's say we want to make the lines curved. So I'll go to my curvature tool, pick up this and curve it. Get this and curve it. Get that and curve it. Get this and curve it. So you're going to end up having a well curved shape with ease. The next tool is paint brush tool. So what the paint brush tool does is to create vectors or illustrations while brushing. So every time you click, you're creating illustrations while brushing. So you're drawing and painting at the same time. So every time you click and create something with the brush tool, it creates several anchor points. All these illustrations are guided by anchor points, which are joined together to create paths and later on shapes.
Introducing Wrapped Multimedia Agency, where creativity meets storytelling. At Wrapped, we specialize in bringing your brand's vision to life with stunning visuals, captivating content with professional production quality. Whether it's a corporate video, commercial, or creative project, we craft compelling idealization that resonates with your audience. Let us wrap your story in excellence. Ready to make an impact? Partner with Wrapped Multimedia Agency and turn your ideas into unforgettable visual experiences.